Today we are using Marvel Snap's newest Season Pass card, which is Surtur, and with Surtur, effectively, after you play a card with 10 or more power, Surtur gains +3 power. So Surtur has to be on the board when you've played those 10 plus power cards, and when you do, it's the potential to scale really high and get a lot of power out into this into your game is incredible, and it's such a fun card to use, and it shows us again how the sort of main season pass card is the best card in the season. Before I get into the deck that I'm going to be using for this video, it would be very much appreciated if you just left a like and subscribed. It's super helpful, and yeah, I would just really appreciate it, so thank you very much. So as you can see from the deck, we've tried to fit in quite a few cards that have 10 or more power. So specifically we have Atuma, Crossbones, Typhoid Mary, Aero, Alioth and Skaar. Obviously with Skaar as well, it does mean the more 10 plus power cards that we play, the more discounted Skaar becomes, which is very nice to be able to play a couple of those high powered cards on your final turn and boost up Surtur even further. We've also got the Hood here, which is a good card obviously to produce Demon, which is a 1/6, and if you pair that up with Atuma as well, you can get rid of the Hood, so any of that negative power, and just have a really cheap sort of powerful card in the form of the Demon. We've got Zero, which you can play, or I typically tend to play on the 5th turn, with Zero being first, and then either Atuma or Typhoid Mary. Obviously with Typhoid Mary normally producing negative power for any other cards that are in that lane, so you want to prevent that from happening just so you can get as much power out as possible. And then the same with Atuma as well. If you don't necessarily want it to destroy any of your cards, it's best to use Zero on Atuma there. Alternatively, we've got Armor, so if you want to Armor and then Atuma, it just means that any of those cards in that lane don't get destroyed, so you keep that power that's been put there. It's also a way for, if you play Surtur in the same lane as Armor, if they have a Shang-Chi, it means that they can't hit the sort of Surtur with the Shang-Chi, and that goes for every single sort of 10 plus power card as well. Similarly with Cosmo, I do actually tend to play Surtur and Cosmo in the same lane, just to prevent that Shang-Chi risk, but also the Shadow King risk, which is another card that we've put into this deck. It's just a really broken card, so it'd be a shame not to put it in our deck, to be honest with you. And yeah, the rest of the deck is fairly self-explanatory, as we've mentioned, but it was a really fun deck to use. It's so straightforward as well. It's not like you've got any sort of really intricate specific lines that you need to play. There are some games where I didn't even manage to get a Surtur out, and just the raw power of some of these cards won you the game. So it's, yeah, really simple, really fun. So let's get into some gameplay. Okay, so this has got an interesting sort of initial line for us, definitely. So we have Surtur, which will probably end up playing in nowhere just to avoid a Shadow King, because that's we usually play the Cosmo next to Surtur. So that way that we don't actually need to play that additional card, which is quite nice for us. That is definitely the sort of next logical card that we're going to play. We've got Atuma and we've got Typhoid Mary. Atuma I'm probably going to play on the next turn just to sit by itself. And then I could always Zero Typhoid Mary potentially on the right hand side. Oh, actually I'm going to put Atuma over on the right. Zero Typhoid Mary in the middle. Zero will get a couple of extra bits of power in the middle. And we won't risk Atuma just getting destroyed, destroying Zero, sorry. So yeah, this is what I'll do. And then realistically, we should have priority on the last turn to use the Alioth where we want to. Obviously, not going to be able to be on the left-hand side, and depending on where they play now, we'll just kind of have to assess the situation. It's likely that they're playing somewhat of a similar deck, maybe like a War Machine deck instead, but no, they're going for exactly what I thought they would be going for. Well, Right, so let's have a look at what we've got here. So if we use Shadow King in the middle, that would realistically only take crossbones down to 10, take them down to 14 power. So at that point it just seems like a better idea to use Alioth. If I use Alioth in the middle, I'm not even going to win the middle anyway, so I think it might just be a case of Aliothing the right hand side. I could... Oh yeah, okay, it's already gone anyway, so we'll see what happens. Oh, the Shang-Chi, oh my goodness. That was nice for us.
Victory.
And that is what could potentially happen without playing the armor, so I'm glad that we did manage to use the Alioth there. Nothing we can do for the moment, but seeing Surtur in hand immediately is always very, very nice. Obviously, with Necrosha here on the left-hand side, it does mean that we're not going to be able to play any of our 10 power cards over there, because it will not boost Surtur. So, ooh, that's also quite an interesting one, specifically... They might be running a Zoo style deck potentially. There is definitely the potential for that. We also have picked up the Zero, so to use that on either a Tumor or Typhoid Mary seems like quite a nice idea. We'll put the Surtur down in the middle, then probably Cosmo middle, Zero right, I'm thinking. And yeah, it does look like they're playing a sort of Zoo style deck as well, so... It does feel like we're getting our cards out quite late at this point, but it seems like the most logical thing to do for the moment, at least. And they've got that Patriot, so if they do pick up an Ultron, it's not going to look very nice for us, to be honest. I'll put the Typhoid Mary out. It's either that or a Tumor. But I would rather not, if I have to put a Tumor on that right hand side, give a Tumor -1 power. I'd rather just potentially, or well, destroy the Zero with a Tumor when we put that down afterwards, if that makes sense. So that's the line of play that we'll go for at the moment. And then we hopefully we take priority until the last turn. And we'll see whether they want to play the Ultron potentially on the left or the right hand side. Hopefully it's the right, and we use the Alioth on the right hand side, and it can't do anything. That would be the sort of ideal situation for us. I have a feeling that's what they're going to do, because obviously they can't Ultron in the middle. I doubt they're going to Ultron on the left, surely not. That's what I think they're going to do. Yeah. And that's exactly what they did. Brilliant.
Victory.
I'm glad to see that I can still read the game sometimes. That's always quite a nice, gratifying feeling. I mean, a Tumor on the left-hand side is somewhat of a nice choice, to be honest with you, to get rid of that ninja. So, if we play armor this turn now, then it's definitely not going to be on that left-hand side. Space Throne's nice, unless they were specifically getting out the Squirrel Girl just to Killmonger it for maybe like a discounted death or something. Oh my goodness, this is going to be nice as well, isn't it? Right, what do we... I mean, I'm going to put Surtur down in the middle because I feel like we're going to be able to buff up the power there quite a lot. And then it would be a shame not to play the Arrow, to be honest with you. Okay, it's looking like a Zoo deck.
Who will the winds bring?
realistically, from the looks of things, I'm going to just need to prioritize one location as well, which is very easily doable for us. Do I still want to... I think I still want to put a tumor down on the left-hand side like was originally planned. Oh, we've got the 0 as well. That is just so convenient for us. I think I'll do that. And then I can always get crossbones down at least in one of those locations. That should be easily doable, to be honest. It's also just gonna have to be the right hand side, and then we'll Shadow King the left as well, because there's at least quite a bit of buffs that Marvel Boy's given out that would be sort of nice to take away, but it's not even... I'm not even going to be able to try that, unfortunately. But a 314 Surtur is very nice, to be honest. You definitely can't complain. We've got the Hood early, but it's definitely not a card that we're going to want to play on Shuri's Lab. But that is an incredible location for us, really. I'm thinking whether I just try and play Surtur down there immediately. That's also relatively nice for us as well. I think I'm going to play armor on the right hand side, because I actually don't mind if obviously the Hood gets destroyed there, but they're probably just going to leave that there themselves as well. They've just gone for the Carnage on the left to get 4 power, which just doesn't seem worth it. Oh my goodness. This seems to be getting better and better, to be honest with you. And what I want to see is if a demon in this position actually buffs up Surtur, and whether Surtur also buffs up themselves due to Shuri's Lab. I'm actually not sure how that's going to work, so I'll be interested to see. I imagine not, but it'd be a shame not to try it out at least, wouldn't it? Okay, no it doesn't buff up herself, and the demon does buff it though, which is nice. I'm also... my Hood's going to get destroyed in this position, which is fantastic for us. And then... I could 0 into... oh no, I don't want to Attuma there, because that would I would run the risk of destroying either of those cards, because it's going to be 20 power. So I think I'll just put Attuma down. I won't even bother using 0, I don't think. Maybe I will. Yeah, there's no harm in getting 0 down anyway, even if we just use crossbones and don't necessarily get rid of the sort of effect. It doesn't really matter for us. The demon getting destroyed is annoying, however. Right, so in this position I'm just going to have to play the crossbones down there and then Cosmo on that left hand side. I don't have priority, so they might end up venoming this and then maybe Arnim Zolaing the venom next. That's interesting. I'm not sure why they've done that, because we've almost certainly won that left hand side now. And I would also be very surprised if they managed to do anything on the right hand side. I guess I'll... right, realistically, what could they do? Are they going to null something? But... oh, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Victory.
I did think even if they did null, it's not like they've actually destroyed much anyway, to be honest. So, Demon from the Hood would be good to put, obviously, on the left-hand side there. Definitely not complaining about getting a free card in the form of a chimichanga, however you want to say it. Yeah, I'll just put the hood down for now. Get Demon, and then what they're playing, Thena and the Chimichanga. Shadow King in the middle is looking quite nice for us, to be honest. So what I'm not going to do is play the Cosmo in the middle, because that would not make very much sense at all. Instead, I'm going to put the armor down there and then play Demon as I planned on doing, and maybe get some extra power on that left hand side too. Typhoid Mary, it's a good amount of power, there's no denying that, is there? And considering we haven't picked up the Surtur, it's looking like we're just going to have to sort of go down the route of getting as much power out as possible. Which is fine, I don't mind doing that. Thena's going to boost up even more, so... Oh, and the Sage as well. The Shadow King in the middle is going to be a very nice play for us. So I think I'll arrow in the middle as well, just to get as much power for ourselves there as possible. So we should be able to play the Shadow King and then the Skaar somewhere.
Who will the winds bring?
Okay, well they get some extra power on the right hand side now instead. Sage is obviously a base 0, Thena's a base 0 as well. So they're only going to have 4 power in the middle with that Shadow King, so that's fine. And then I'll Skaar the left hand side, and that should be more than enough power for us. I'd be interested to see what their unrevealed card is as well, because there's a potential to just sort of clean sweep and win all 3 locations. The Mystique, okay. The Angela into a Kitty. So we've definitely won the left. We've definitely won the middle. Ironheart was actually a little bit closer than I thought in the middle in the end, but yeah, we managed to win all 3 lanes.
Victory.
Got 0 very early on, but also the hood, which makes by far more sense to get out early, to be honest. Eternity range is not something I particularly... I don't really want to rock, so if I can prevent that for the moment, that would be quite nice, to be honest. Craven definitely suits the Bifrost for them. That's not a card that we're going to be using, but that's okay. I put Cosmo down, that's kind of usually going to be the lane that we try and Surtur. They get given the rock as was planned, and it's a bit of an interesting one now, because I don't really want to play Dakin. I actually don't know how you say it. So I think I'll just 0 into a Typhoid Mary on the next turn. Just try and get as much power out as possible, to be honest. Seems a bit unnecessary. Is the unreveal still going to work there, considering it's now been knocked into Cosmo? I was going to say, I thought it would be okay. Oh, I'm also thinking, what if we Typhoid Mary here, Tuma here on the next turn as well? Or we would rather Alioth potentially. No, I'll just go for the sort of simple play in the situation, I think. Alternatively, we'll have a slightly discounted Skaar. Depending on what we pick up, we could always Shadow King Skaar the middle, but actually that's not looking like much of an option now. It's interesting that they used their Shang-Chi quite early, when they had priority in that position. Yeah, a little bit confused by that, but I am also not complaining. We have a 7 difference in both the left and right. Obviously, we're not going to contest for the middle at this point. I can't Alioth the right. That might be something that changes my mind on what I do. Because originally I was going to just kind of Skaar, but it's not like I can do anything else there anyway. So Aliothing the left, I think, is the plan, which might have worked out. The cannonball, perfect. Yeah, that did work out for us.
Victory.
Because they could have probably hit the Typhoid Mary or whatever card we played there into the middle or just to the right hand side, and then they would have won the left. So yeah, fantastic. Aunt Maze, I'm trying to see if there are any cards that we have that can benefit off of that to give Surtur more power, but that would, I think, only be the case if we had anything that was 7 power or more effectively. Interesting. Okay, well, there's no point in using Shadow King just for the sake of it, so that's not what we're going to do. Morbius, so a discard deck. And I'm going to Cosmo that right hand side. I think it will benefit us more than it would them. Interesting. Shadow King in the middle so far is looking like a nice little plan. Crossbones on the right hand side is looking like the most sensible thing to do for now as well. Except the fact that Gambit is going to hit that Cosmo, which is not ideal for us. But we got some power out, which is something. Arrow out on the left, it will go up to 13 power. We'll be interested to see where it ends up, obviously. This is an interesting deck.
Who will the winds bring?
It's going into the middle, so we'll match the power there for the moment. Our Alioth obviously couldn't hit anything because we didn't have priority. And we still don't, but we have a free Skaar. So we'll do this and then that and hope that the point difference there is just enough. Gwenpool is all they went for.
Victory.
Bit of an unconventional one, to be honest with you. It's not necessarily according to plan by any means, but we made it work. That's the main thing.